Hello, how do I fill out Form 941 if I have no employees? 2023 quarter 1. So to fill out Form 941 for 2023, if you have no employee, you didn't pay any payroll, you didn't pay any wages, you'll go to IRS website, irs.gov, and you will type in the search bar Form 941. So if you are required to file Form 941 and you have no employees, you still need to file Form 941. You won't have any dollar amount to put on the form, but you still need to file it. So you'll download the Form 941, the latest version, and I will suggest you download the instructions for Form 941 as well. And we might talk a little bit about Schedule B of Form 941. It may not be applicable to everyone. So let's go and open the instructions for Form 941. So if you are a sole proprietor or an LLC, tap as that file 1065 partnership tax return, and you didn't hire any employee, but you are required to file Form 941. Yeah, you will still file it. If you are an NLC taxed as an S Corp, you are working in the business, you are the first employee of the business, you are an officer of the business. But if you didn't collect any payment from your business, the business didn't pay you any salary, and you are required to file Form 941, you will file it as well. So in that case, you do have an employee yourself, but you didn't pay yourself any wages. It's as the same thing as the sole proprietor that doesn't have any employee, or the 1065 filer that doesn't have any employee. So how to file Form 941 for 2023 quarter 1 if you have no employee? So when you download the form, you'll enter your business EIN number, and you'll make sure the number is accurate. So that, and then for the name, so we are going to enter the business information. So for the name, you make sure it is your business legal name. So you'll find that on the SS4 form that you receive from IRS when you apply for EIN number. It will be on your EIN application form if you save a copy of that form when you file it. So you make sure it is exactly entered that way. So we are going to use an example here. And if you have trade name, you will enter. So if you are a sole proprietor, generally your business legal name will be your name, your own name, first name, last name, the way you enter in the EIN application form. So if you have a trade name or a DBA, you'll enter under trade name, otherwise you leave it blank if you don't have any. So we are going to use an example here. And then you'll enter your business address, the street, number and address, the city, the state, and the zip code. So at the right of the business information report for this quarter of 2023, you will choose the quarter you are filing for, and we are filing for quarter 1, and quarter 1 include January, February, March. So we might pause a little bit here to answer a question. Do you need to file Form 941? I will say in general, you are required to file Form 941 even if you have no tax to report. But IRS have some exceptions, so you can find more in the instructions for Form 941. So the one exception is for seasonal employers. So if you are a seasonal employer and you are going to hire part of the year to run your business only, every time you file Form 941 for a quarter, you still need to check the quarter you are filing for. But there is line 18 that has a box that you can check, and when you check that box, that pretty much means that you are telling IRS that you are now going to file Form 941 every quarter. You'll only file it for the quarter that you have payroll tax to report. So line 18, if you are a seasonal employer and you don't have to file a return every quarter of the year, you check that box. So IRS may not expect the next quarter return from you, but when you do not check that box, IRS expects a return from you. So you need to file that return, whether you have a dollar amount to report or you have $0 amount to report. You still need to file it. But if you are checking that box 18, when you are filing, every time you are filing Form 941, you still need to check the quarter you are filing for. So you will find more on that on page 5 of IRS Instructions for Form 941 2023. So we are going to assume you are going to file Form 941 every quarter. So let's go back. So you check quarter 1 box, and we are going to go to Form 941 Part 1. Number of employees who receive wages, tips, or other compensation for the pay period, quarter 1 that we are filing for. In your example, in your case, since you do not have employees, or you are the employees of your S Corp, but you didn't collect any salary during quarter 1, you have $0 pay in wages. Therefore, the number of employees who receive wages for quarter 1 will be 0. So when you have no employees and you are filing 941, most of the lines that will be $0, you will leave it blank, except line 1, 2, and 12. And 12 total tasks. And I believe more on that should be in the instructions as well. Probably page 7. So you can read more about it on page 7. So line 2, wages, tips, and other compensation. They are asking about, you are filing for a specific quarter, so that's the quarter information you'll enter. So for wages, tips, and other compensation for quarter 1, that will be 0, because space for decimal, I will enter 00 there as well. And they should be able to say things about rounding or not rounding, I will think. Okay, enter dollar to the left of the preprint decimal point and cents to the right. Don't round entry to whole dollar. So that's that. So federal line 3, part 1 line 3, federal income tax withheld from wages, tips, and other compensation is going to be, we are going to leave a blank, is 0. So we are going to leave a blank because it's now, they say leave a blank any data field except line 1 to 12 with value 0. So we are going to leave line 3 blank. Line 4, if no wages, tips, or other compensation are subject to Social Security and Medicaid tax, check that box. So since you didn't have any employee, therefore you didn't pay any wages, you didn't collect or withhold Social Security from employees, therefore you check box 4 and you go to line 6. So line 6, total tax before adjustment, which is the sum of line 3, the federal income tax, line 5E, the Social Security and Medicare total, and line 5F. And in our case, it's going to be 0, so we are going to leave a blank. Current quarter adjustment for fraction. So it is an area to make adjustment if what you withhold from employees and what you are supposed to withhold, there is a discrepancy between the two due to rounding. That's on line 7, you will make that adjustment, but in your case it's 0, so we are going to leave a blank. Current quarter adjustment for sick leave, we leave a blank. Line 8, current adjustment for tips and group term insurance, we leave a blank. So line 10, total tax after adjustment is 0. In your case, we leave a blank. So 11 is non-refundable credit. So they have small business tax credit, we leave a blank. Line 11B, non-refundable portion of credit, we leave a blank. And we'll go to Form 941, Part 1, page 2. So on the page 2, you'll have to enter your business legal name and the business EIN number. So we will do that. And line 11, the non-refundable portion of the credit for qualified sick and family leave, we leave a blank if it's 0. Line 11F, line 11G, total non-refundable credit, which is the sum of the line 11s, we will leave a blank if it's 0. Line 12, total tax after adjustment and non-refundable. So line 12 is the sum of line 10, total tax before adjustment, and line 11, total non-refundable credits. I mean, like subtraction. So sorry. So the line 10, the total tax before adjustment, minus line 11J, non-refundable credit. So that will give you line 12, the total tax after adjustment and non-refundable credits. And in this case is 0, so we are going to put 0. Line 13, a total deposit for the quarter including overpayment applied from prior quarter and overpayment applied from other tax, employment tax return filed in the current quarter. So if you have a overpayment that you didn't get a refund for, but you you request the QPay for you to apply to another quarter, that's what 13A is. Or if you make deposit during that quarter, you'll enter on 13A. So if you didn't make any quarter because you didn't make any deposit because you didn't withhold any payroll tax, then line 13 is 0. We are going to leave it blank. So line 13B to F is more refundable portion of credits. So we are going to leave them blank if they are 0. Line 13G, total deposit and refundable credit will be the line 13A, line 13C, and line 13E combined. So in our case, it is 0. Line 14, balance due. So if line 12, which is total tax after adjustment and non-refundable credit, and you are going to compare that line to line 13G, total deposit and refundable credit. So if line 12 is more than line 13G, you owe tax. If line 13G is more than line 12, you pay more. Therefore, you have a refund to request, and you'll enter the difference on line 15. But if line 12 is more than line 13G, you'll enter the tax you owe on line 14. If line 13G is more than the total tax, you have a refund. You'll put that difference on line 15, and you check one of the boxes on line 15 on how you want to treat that refund, if you want to receive it or if you want to apply it toward the next return. So in our case, we are going to leave those blank because our dollar amount is 0. So Form 941 for 2023 Part 2, your tax payroll deposit schedule. So if line 12 total tax is less than 2,500, which it is in this case, you will check the first box on line 16 and you leave the other two boxes alone. I will have another video when we will check the second box in, but in this case where you didn't pay any wages, the first box is what you will check. But you can read more what that is about, and I can say a little bit about it as well, but it may not be applied to you. So at the beginning of the year, you have to choose a deposit schedule. If you have employees, you have to choose the schedule you want to adopt, and you use it for the whole year. So you have monthly deposit schedule, and then you have semi-weekly deposit schedule, and there is a rule behind which one you will choose. So usually if you file Form 941, you look at the last 2 years return, and the way it works is you look at June 2021 to July 2022. So if the tax liabilities that you pay is more than $50,000, you will choose semi-weekly deposit schedule for the whole year. So you have to choose the schedule at the beginning of the year, and you stick to it unless you receive $100,000 in one day. So if your look back, your 2 years look back is less than $50,000 in tax liability, then you will choose the monthly schedule, the monthly deposit schedule. But then you use that throughout the year. But if at any point during the year you incur $100,000, I believe that would be like in tax liability. You'll make that nested deposit, but then you'll switch from monthly schedule to semi-weekly schedule from that point on, and you'll stay on that schedule for the rest of the year. I might do another video to talk a little bit about it, but it should be in the instructions. And when you are filing a tax return, I will suggest you open the instruction related to that tax return. And if you want to know more about a section of the return, you just locate it in the instructions and read about it. So we can just scroll to that section, line 16, and they will talk about the look back. And if you are a brand new business owner or brand new employer, you don't have that look back to look at. There is a rule for that as well. So they look back. So you are monthly schedule depositor for the calendar year if the amount of your Form 941 tax is reported for the look back period is $50,000 or less. The look back period is the 4 consecutive quarters ending in June 30th of the prior year. So for 2023, the look back period is July 1st, 2021 and end on June 30th, 2022. So I was more off in the month, but it's from July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. And if you file Form 944 in earlier years, then your look back period is the year 2021. So you'll pull Form 944 for 2021 to see your tax liability. And pretty much when they are talking about that $50,000 is the tax liability, and that will be, what line it is on Form 944. For Form 941 is on line 12. So, and they should be able to have something for new business owners as well. And they do have that $100,000. But if you have no wages, it may not be applied to you. And generally, if you are a new business owner and you anticipate to have less than $50,000 in tax liability, you could choose the monthly deposit schedule. But I will think they will mention, the for new business owners. But yeah, you can find more about it in publication 15, but I might do a video on that another time. So in our case, you check the first box and you leave the other 2 boxes alone, and we move to page 3, part 3. So again, at the top of the page, you will enter your business information, your business legal name, and your business EIN number. So line 17, if your business has closed or you stop paying wages, you check that box. Otherwise, you leave it alone. And there is more instruction in the publication if you close the business, what you should be doing. So pretty much, there is a rule if you sold the business, if you transfer the business, or if you close. So the quarter that, because we are talking about quarter 1, it may not apply to you, but wages you pay up to the time you close it, that's why you will report, or that you transfer it or sold the business, that's why you will report. And the new business will report from that point on to the end of the year, but you will report the prior year. While the business it is under your control, you will report the wages or the payroll taxes for that prior, before closing or before transferring, those prior quarter. So, but for quarter one, it may not apply to you. So we are going to leave that section blank. Line 18, seasonal employee, we are going to leave it blank. So line 19 is for, health plan, and if it does not apply to you, you just leave them blank. But again, if sick leave and family leave credit are something you might be qualified for, or the small business credit is something you might be qualified for, you might want to read the instruction on it. And there is worksheet at the end of the.
She don't let me play.
Did you shower?
No.
Yeah, you go shower and then you get a computer, okay? Okay, love you. What? Yeah, well, Jordan, you woke up in the morning, you shower. So if you do not shower, you do not touch your computer, you wait for me to come and shower you before you touch your computer. So line, and there are worksheets at the end of the publication that you might have to use. And for the small business credit, there might be additional form that you might have to complete. So and based on the instruction, you might have to attach some additional form that you completed to the form 941. So in this scenario or this example, we are going to leave those line blank. So part 4, may we speak with a third party designated. So if you don't want to, you just click no. So that means if IRS has a question, they will just contact you, not somebody else. So, and part 5, and in case you wanted to know more about that section, if somebody filed a tax return for your business, they are going to contact that person, not the person's business, but that person. And so you'll enter that person's phone number, name, phone number, and the PIN that they will use to identify the person. So, and it's just going to relate it to that return, not any other return. So part 5, so we are going to check no and move to part 5. Who should sign the form 941 for your business? So if you are a sole proprietor and you are required to file form 941 because you have employees, you are the owner of the business, you'll put your name and you pretty much put your phone number, your title, and probably the title will be owner. But yeah, and then when you print it out, you'll sign it and date it. So if you are an LLC and file 1065 partnership tax return, any member of the business that is knowledgeable of the business activities will be able to sign the return. So if you are an LLC that is treated as an S corp, you, the president, the vice president, or any officer of the business, you'll be able to sign the return, and you'll be able to find more about it in the instructions for Form 941 on page 20. So in this example, we are going to enter the name, the title, and the phone number. Pre-prepare use only. So if you are filing Form 941 for your business, you leave the pre-prepare use only section alone. If you are filing Form 941 for a client and you are getting paid for the return, then you'll enter your name, your business name, your business address, your P10, and your business EIN number, your business phone, and pretty much the address zip code. So I think it went all the way like this. So, and when you print it out, you'll sign it, you'll date it. If as a tax preparer you are a self-employed, then you'll check that box. But if you are filing the tax return for your own business, you do not complete the pay preparer use only section. You leave it blank. So in this case, we are going to leave it blank because that's an example of you filing the return for your own business. So because you didn't have any employees or you didn't pay any wages during Q1 and didn't have any tax, any payroll tax to report, you are done completing Form 941 for Q1 of 2023. You are now going to complete the voucher section, the Form 941V. You leave it blank and you will print the tax return. You print the tax return out and you will review it. Go there.
Okay.
You want to show with Gabrielle? Yeah, that's fine. Ask Gabrielle. Gabrielle is okay with it. No filing in the tub. What? What?
I don't want to.
She doesn't want to? She doesn't want to? Then don't. You wait for her. So then you are ready to mail it. Where do you mail Form 941? So you are going to look in the instructions and let's see if we try page 8. Should be before that. So you'll find it on page 7, the address where you should mail your Form 941 for 2023. You first locate your state, and it seems like from middle west to west is on the second row, and from middle west to east is the first row. So you locate your state and you choose the column that corresponds to your situation. Are you enclosing a payment or not? So in this example, we are now completing Form 941 voucher, the form 941V, because we didn't have any payroll tax to report. Therefore, without a payment is the column we will focus on. So the address in the column without a payment on the row that corresponds to the row our state is the address we will put on the envelope, and you mail the return to that address via certified mail, USPS certified mail, and you keep the receipt with a copy of the return. So when you print the return and sign it, you need to make a copy for your own business record, and you add that receipt to it, as well as the certified the tracking number to that receipt, and file it with the return for the business record. So when Form 941 is due, so Form 941 is quarterly return. So Q1 is due by April 30th, and you should be able to find the due date in the instructions as well. So the first quarter is January, February, March, and it is due by April 30th. Therefore, you mail it by the due date. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Afiavi Liberman, creator of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel and ninasoap.com, our blog. We thank you very much, you all that watch our videos. We thank you very much for your time. We thank you for all your comments. And thank you very much, you all that subscribe to our channel. On our website, we have free download session where you can download templates that you can use for personal finances or for business finances, to help with tax preparation or to help tracking your expenses and your income. And you don't need to subscribe to our blog to access the free download. You don't need to submit email for that. You'll be able to access the free download session and download template from there. So, and we do have liberdownload.com for our digital products where we sell templates for personal finances and for business purposes as well. So thank you so much for your time. We share information on different ways you can save money and different ways you can make money to reach your financial independence. And filing your tax return for your business is one way to keep your business expenses low. Business tax return can be expensive, and you could reach a point that you might find it that you could pay for the fee to save your time, and yes, you'll pay a professional to do it for you. But by that point, if you make it a habit to file it yourself, when you didn't have a lot of expenses to report on your tax return, you'll be more knowledgeable of the tax return, and you'll know how to track the data that will go on those tax return in a way that when you hire somebody to file the return for you, you will provide the information they need to file it for you and file it accurately. So filing the tax return is not a challenging part. I think gathering the information that will go on the tax return is, at least I think it makes it easier if you have the information sorted out properly to file the return. And when you don't have wages to report and you are required to file that, or you don't have expenses to report, and but you have to file that tax return, it saves you money if you put in the time to file it yourself. You are learning the skill, and at the same time you are saving money as well. So thank you so much.